Hi everyone, it's your favorite couple again, Fidel and
Nikki. So today we are going to talk about the soul. You know, almost all religion believe in the concept of the soul. They believe that the soul continues to live after death. What do you think?
Yes, almost all religions of the world believe in the soul. That's the basic idea of all religion. You know, the real part of us, our real selves, which is not our physical bodies, because almost all religions believe the physical bodies are just like vehicles. You know, after death, our body separates from our soul, and the soul continues living.
So, you know, the soul could mean different things to different people depending on the context, right? Let's start with the definition. What is the soul?
Here we are talking about the soul as, you know, the innermost part of us, you know. I mean, almost all religions in the world, you know, believe that our physical bodies are just vehicles, right? We are actually souls wearing these physical bodies as vehicles. You know? So it doesn't matter the religion, even if you go by the biblical, you know, worldview. If you look at the biblical story of creation, it talks about how out of the dust of the earth, God formed man and gave man the breath, and man then became a living soul. Here we see that duality, that which comes from the dust of the earth, that which was formed from the dust of the earth, I believe refers to our physical body, and that which came from above, the breath of God in man, that's our spirit, that's what makes our soul a living soul, that's our spirit.
So, are there any evidence of the soul? If there is any, can you list them and explain?
Yes, but you know, in the world of today, we live in the world of science, right? And like I keep pointing out, science only deals with the measurable, the observable, the physical, right? So the soul, like I said earlier, came from above. It's not physical, right? It didn't come from the earth, right? So it's not a physical entity that science can observe or measure. You know, science cannot put the soul in the test tube and measure, right? So at the moment, science does not believe in the existence of the soul because science cannot, it's beyond the realm of science. Things like art, for example, human beings, we appreciate art, we create art, you know, we draw, we sing, we write poetry, right? We make music. I do not see how these things help us in the struggle, in the survival of the fittest struggle. Do you understand? But the fact that we do these things means that there's something in us that didn't just evolve, that didn't just come from the level of nature, something inside us that came from above. Do you understand? Animals do not do poetry, they do not sing, they do not even have language. Okay, think about morality, for example. The concept of right and wrong. It's so strong in humans that sometimes it's actually anti-evolutionary, sometimes it's a hindrance to evolution. That's not how the evolution works. For example, if we go by the theory of evolution, natural selection and survival of the fittest, right? Each species wants to, each organism wants to have as much offspring as possible. And that, because that ensures the sheer number of offspring ensures the survival of the species. So the animal, the dog, as long as it can, whenever it sees a female dog, it wants to, mate with it. That's how all animals behave, and this is how evolution and natural selection works, right? This is how evolution works. But when it comes to humans, we put so much hindrances in the way of this, propagation of species. We make laws. You can't mate with this person because you two are related. You can't mate with this person. All these things, where did we get these moral laws from? It shows us there's something inside us that, that is deeper, that comes from a sphere. above, that functions, comes from a sphere that functions differently.
Yeah.
The law of that sphere is different because we are bringing in something that doesn't exist in nature. There is deep love, consideration, selfless love. Two human beings, a man and his daughter, or a man and his mother, even if they are the last two people on earth, and you tell them, look, if you guys don't mate, if you guys don't procreate, the entire existence of humanity is going to end. They are not even going to think of it. It's out of the question.
Yeah.
So where did we get these strong moral values that is so strong to the extent that it goes against the natural urges?
Yeah.
Like a man meets a woman, right? They are not even related. They are a healthy man and a healthy woman. Of course, sometimes the man feels the urge for the mating, but he holds himself. No, this is not right. I have to conduct myself. Conduct yourself like what? Are you not just the physical body, an animal?
Yeah.
That idea shows you that with our behavior, we show that we are not just our physical bodies.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at the fact that we wear clothing, for example. Okay, animals, right? The clothing, for example, can be a hindrance to propagation of the species. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Why? Because the animal walks around showing their bodies, and that entices them, makes them want to procreate more. They keep having children. Right? And that ensures their survival. But we humans, we actually cover up. And that covering up is a hindrance because it takes your mind away from, you understand? Why? But why? What is it that we human beings, there's a law that we obey in our behavior that nature cannot explain, that natural selection cannot explain.
Yes.
So we have something in us that comes from a different sphere.
Yes.
Now the final, evidence, religion, or the desire to know God, desire to have a relationship with God, the desire to approach the Creator. Like in my video about agnosticism, I said that, the animal, for example, doesn't rack its brain trying to understand whether the universe was created or not. But we humans do. Why do we have the urge to think about these things? Perhaps we have something inside us that has the ability to know, right? And we have something inside us that comes from a sphere higher than nature. It's just longing to return back to view things from the above, from its sphere of origin, which is why he wants to stand above and look and overlook and explain how everything started. Where did this urge come from? And also the urge to approach something higher than us. Again, if we go to the biblical story, it says our bodies came from the dust of the earth, but our spirit came from above the breath. So you see each returning to, tending towards its, primary original state. The body will end up going back to the dust where it comes from. But then the fact that we have something inside us that longs for higher consciousness, for the higher realms, that cannot be overlooked. There must be something inside us that really came from the higher realms. Because just as our body is tending towards the ground, our soul is also striving above.
Wow.
So that's the way I can explain it.
You know, my own little of explaining, this is a personal experience. When I was pregnant for our son, the early stage of pregnancy, I just, when we went to do the pregnancy test and everything, I knew I was pregnant, but there was nothing unique about it, just the morning sickness and everything. But a certain period in the pregnancy, I start feeling like something, I'm carrying a baby, a human being. Yes. Like also, when the child hears your voice, like when you come back from work, he hears your voice, he will start kicking like, hey, that is fine. So I think that point something happened. I think the soul.
You feel the
came in.
nearness of another individual.
Yes.
Another soul, you know.
Yes. So I believe there is existence of the soul. I think.
So we can see that there's some certain behaviors that we humans, you know, exhibit
yeah.
that cannot be explained.
Yeah.
Is even far away, so different from behavior of animals. You know, and we are not biologically, we are not that different from animals. So how come our behavior is that much different?
Yeah.
You know, I know animals have souls too, but like I said, you know, men have a living soul, which is, you know, you can now say there are different depths to the soul. The human being has a spirit, which in biblical terms it's called a living soul, which the animal doesn't even have. The animal, you can say it has a soul that, you know, keeps it alive, animates it, but it's not a living soul, it's not a spirit that came from, you know, from above, from the spiritual realm or from God, or however you want to call it.
Wow, that's amazing. So guys,
what do you guys think? Do you think we are just our physical bodies? That's basically animals, or do you think we have something inside us that makes that gives rise to these behaviors that are so different from the behaviors of other animals? So guys,
yeah, so that's it. And also, where do you think your soul goes? Is it heaven or hell, or do you think the soul reincarnates? Put your views in the comment section. We can't wait to hear or read all your comments. So thank you so much for watching our videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Fidel and Nikki,
Social media, you gotta love us. Bye.